I bet you've never had a ragu like this in your life. This is not a ragu alla bolognese. This is a ragu based on Italian-American sausage and peppers. A ragu that has more of an Italian-American identity rather than a ragu found in any of the regions in Italy. And the result is an insanely delicious pasta.
Now first we need to roast the peppers. We're just gonna cut the cheeks off of the pepper around the core so that we're only left with the seeds and the core. And then we're going to add them to a sheet tray, hit them with a little bit of oil and some salt, and then pop them under the broiler, and we're gonna char that skin. Now to understand the context behind this recipe, you must understand what Italian cooking is. And to cook Italian is to cook what is locally available to you. So if you were to have an open mind in viewing Italian-American cuisine as a newer regional cuisine, in addition to the 20 regions of Italy, the 21st region, if you will, that means we use what is local and native to us. Sausage and peppers has always been an Italian-American northeastern thing, so turning that into a ragu, taking inspiration from classic sausage and peppers I grew up eating, the bell pepper pasta sauce I made on this channel that you all seem to love so much, a little bit of vodka sauce, and of course the traditional bolognese from Emilia-Romagna in Bologna, all combined to create a ragu that has much more Italian-American roots. Once the red peppers have charred, we're going to get them out of the oven, we're going to cover them, and we're going to allow them to steam for 15 minutes while we prepare the rest of the ingredients. I've got an onion here. Usually I'd use one big onion. This is a small onion, so I'm gonna use 2 small onions. I'm gonna cut that root and the tops off of the onion, peel them, and I'm just gonna slice them into thin strips. Next, I have a couple cloves of garlic. I'm just gonna slice those thin. And once you're done with all that, it's been about 10-15 minutes. Peppers have steamed through, so we could just go through and use our knife and scrape off the charred skins of the pepper. And then we can go through and just give those a nice thin slice. It's always more efficient to just go through, remove the skins of all of the peppers first, and then go through and slice them all in one batch. Just a lot easier than scraping the skins off of one pepper, slicing it, scraping the skins off of another, and so forth. So now we have all of our ingredients prepared.
Now you know I love a good bowl of pasta, and I also love a good cup of coffee. But I don't have all the gear at home to make it myself, and when I go out to buy it nowadays, it's becoming more and more inconsistent. That's why I'm excited to partner with Cometeer. Cometeer is a new way of making, or should I say melting, coffee at home. They offer pour-over quality coffee from some of the world's best specialty coffee roasters, brewed 10 times stronger and delivered in a frozen recyclable aluminum capsule. The brewed coffee is immediately flash frozen into these little pucks that lock in flavor and freshness. And all you have to do is add 6 to 8 ounces of hot water to melt the puck, and you've got instant coffee that tastes like a barista just brewed it in your home. All the brewing's already been done for you, and there is no mess or cleanup left over. It's a beautiful thing. Maybe you like an iced coffee instead of a hot coffee. Pull a pot out in the refrigerator, let it defrost, and then pour over some cold water and some milk, and you've got yourself perfect iced coffee. Or maybe you want one of my favorite treats ever, an affogato. You just basically add a scoop of ice cream into a bowl and pour over one of the defrosted pods. It's perfection. And each cup of coffee only costs $2, so you can save money without sacrificing quality. And for a very limited time, Cometeer is offering a huge discount of 40% off your first order when you use the code NOTANOTHER40 at cometeer.com/notanother. And let's get back into the recipe.
So now we've got all our ingredients, we can start to prep the first phase of the sauce. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get a frying pan on medium-high heat, and we're gonna coat the bottom of the pan in some olive oil, and then we're gonna add the onions. We're gonna hit it with some salt, and we're gonna saute the onions until they sort of catch up to the level of cooked that the roasted red peppers are at. Once they've softened up, we can add the roasted red peppers, and we now want to cook both of those things just until they're soft enough to blend smoothly. We're gonna hit them with a little bit of salt, and once they start to get softened and translucent and slightly caramelizing on the pan, we can add a little bit of the garlic, let that cook for a minute or two until it starts to soften. Then we can add about a tablespoon of chopped Calabrian chilies and just sort of cook that for another minute or two. Then we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, and we're gonna mix that into the vegetables, and we're gonna allow that to sort of cook through, add a little bit of depth of flavor to the pan, add a little bit of caramelization, and then once it's nicely cooked, we're gonna turn the heat completely off, and then we're gonna add a little bit of the vodka to deglaze the pan. Once we scrape up all those good bits and the bottom of the pan is clean, then we can start to slowly add in the cream a little bit at a time in the beginning. Once you can see it start to come together smoothly, you can start to add the rest of the cream and then mix it well to combine until it's reached a nice pink rosy color. Then we want to add it to a blender and just puree it smooth. This bell pepper sauce is based on a recipe I had when I was in Italy. It was a jar of Barilla. I couldn't remember the jar that it was until I posted this video originally and found out it was just pesto alla calabrese. This is not how traditional pesto alla calabrese is made. We'll cover that traditional recipe another time. But this was my best approximation of it before realizing the actual dish it was inspired by. And the result is still extremely delicious. Almost like a bell pepper vodka sauce.
So now we have the sausage, and I've just got 1.5 pounds of a hot Italian sausage. You could use sweet if you like, but I like it spicy. I'm just gonna remove these from their casings, and then we're gonna throw them into the pan. So for the next stage, we've got our loose sausage meat, our bell pepper sauce, and we're gonna use a little bit more vodka to deglaze the sausage. And then that's gonna tie the sauce together. All that's left to the side is the pasta shape. Here we have a nice pappardelle, which would go really nice with a nice meat sauce. And we've also got paccheri, which is like a big rigatoni. It doesn't have ridges. And what it's gonna allow is that meat sauce to sort of find its way into that hole. It's really nice pasta. I don't cook with it much on the show, but maybe I'll start. I think today I'm gonna go with the paccheri.
Now this last step is fairly simple, but it just requires technique. We wanna extract the maximum amount of flavor out of this sausage. So in a large saute pan with high rims, I'm gonna add that sausage on high heat to a pan with some olive oil to help get that sausage going and release some of its fat. And I'm just gonna use a flat bottom wooden spoon to start to break this meat up while it starts to cook. I really wanna break it down so the sausage is more uniform in texture and in size, and we can brown each piece up to maximize flavor. And in the beginning, we're gonna allow that moisture to evaporate. It's not gonna brown, it's going to almost steam. So we just need to get that moisture released, and then you're gonna start to hear the meat start to fry. Once the meat starts frying, you're gonna see fond develop in the bottom of the pan. And once we like the level of caramelization and brown developed on the meat, we can turn off the heat and we can take that vodka and just deglaze and scrape up all those flavorful bits off the bottom of the pan. There's still some areas with some stuck on bits, just add a little bit more moisture there and scrape. And once the bottom of the pan is nice and clean, we can go ahead and add our bell pepper sauce. Make sure you add a little bit of water into the container just to clean it out and to add a little bit of moisture to the sauce. Pour that into the pan, get the heat on, and then we're gonna give it a taste and adjust some seasoning. And then we're gonna just let that simmer while we cook the pasta. A little salt into the water, and then the paccheri goes in. And this paccheri takes 13 minutes to cook. I'm gonna set a timer for 12 minutes. And while that pasta's cooking, that sauce is just gonna be simmering. It's gonna cook that meat down, make it nice and tender. Once the pasta's cooked for 12 minutes, I'm gonna get another pot out to finish the pasta in. I'm gonna add some of the sauce to it, and then I'm gonna scoop that pasta out and add it directly to the sauce. I'm not gonna be very vigorous with it. I'm gonna gently stir it around the pan in the sauce. And I'm gonna adjust the consistency of the sauce with some of that pasta water and a little bit more of the sauce. And I'm just gonna cook that until I reach a consistency that's just a little bit looser than the sauce is in its pot. I want it to flow a little better, and I'm just gonna add a little bit of pasta water and sauce at a time to try and balance out and find that perfect consistency until the pasta is al dente. And after about 2 minutes of cooking it in the sauce, I'm gonna turn the heat off and I'm gonna put a lid on it and let that steam for maybe like 3 or 4 minutes. And it's gonna just really finish the pasta nicely and create a nice strong al dente. Now we can plate. Now with such large pieces of pasta, I feel like they're gonna stack really nicely. So I'm going for this sort of pasta pyramid. Just gonna go with 5 pieces on the bottom, then 4, then 3, then 2. And then it's time for the sauce. And the sauce is tightened up a bit. I'm gonna use a little bit of pasta water to thin it back out to nice saucy consistency. And then it goes right on top of the pasta. And to finish it, a nice dusting of pecorino romano. And what you have is a delicious, insanely good pasta that has a northeastern Italian-American identity.
It's such a nice change up from like a normal bolognese. And the paccheri is just a really great pasta to showcase this sauce. See how the sauce gets kind of stuck into the tubes, so it's almost like a cannelloni.
It's also great with the pappardelle if you choose that.
It really has all the flavors of a sausage and pepper. And if you like bolognese and you like the bell pepper sauce we made on this show last year, you're going to die for this. Recipe's gonna be down in the description. That's all I have today. I'll see you next time. Until then, take care of yourself and go feed yourself.
I recently made a pizza for the legendary Wolfgang Puck. If you want to get the recipe and the story, link to the video is going to be on screen right now. Thanks for watching.